Hey guys, it's Pete from Pete from Anxiety here. Welcome into today's episode. I appreciate y'all being here so much. Let's talk about a few things real quick. The Pete vs. Anxiety Team Anxiety Facebook group. Are you a part of it? You're not? What are you waiting for? The link's down here in the description down below, or go to Facebook and search Pete vs. Anxiety. Then look for the Team Anxiety team page and join it today. Why not? You can join and help. It'll be great. Yeah, like right now. Hurry up. Stop what you're doing. Pause this video. Go do it right now. But anyways, let's also talk about the Pete vs. Anxiety YouTube page. If you're here right now, you're probably following it most likely. If not, head on over there, subscribe, be sure to like and comment on the videos and let me know, because all that stuff really helps, guys. I really appreciate it. And help me break the stigma that mental health is talked about enough. But anyways, guys, let's get into today's episode. I'll have a great one. Thank you so much again. And as I always say, don't ask how your day is. Ask how your mental health.
Guys, welcome to an exciting episode of Pete vs. Anxiety. My guest today is the co-founder of the NourishDoc app. Please welcome in Amita Sharma. How you doing today?
Great. Thank you so much, Pete, and I love your work.
Thank you so much. Amita, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and then a little bit more about the app itself?
Yeah, so I'm like any other consumer woman out there, who happened to have strange symptoms when I was going through my perimenopause. I was confused, completely stigma, like you're talking about. I didn't want to talk about it. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to be judged, all those things, right? And that what happened, about a decade back, and that slowly, it triggered again, my whole this PTSD of going through perimenopause and the stigma about 2-3 years back. And the more I talked to more women, they said the same thing. And I felt like it didn't matter which ethnic group women belonged to. They all felt isolated. They felt stigma attached to it. And that's what led me to creating NourishDoc, which is a platform for specifically mid-aged women when they're starting their journey of perimenopause, menopause, and post-menopause. Sorry for the long explanation, but that is kind of...
No, you're good. I want to make sure people understand exactly what this whole thing is about. So when did you decide to start this app? I know you said it's not out yet, is it?
No. It's going to be. It's like literally giving birth to a baby. So I think baby is in the 9th month right now. That's where we are.
I love it. That's a great comparison. That's awesome. So what brought you to do the app? I mean, making an app is a big deal for a lot of people. Do you have a lot of doctors backing the studies behind these things? And you're the co-founder. So who's your other founder then?
So it's a guy. It's not a woman. So that's good,
okay.
Right? But on the other hand, so we did like for the last 3-4 years, we did almost like, I don't even know, 3,000 maybe, or maybe more one-off webinars, workshops, so to speak. And quite a few of them were free. And we were just kind of sharing the information and knowledge to as many women as possible. And that was sort of like limiting in the sense like, oh, I do this at that time and people show up and, whatever. So it's too much information. So what we decided to make it like, okay, simple bite-sized information, scalable, economical, and what do we do? How do we bring all these expertise out in one place rather than me going to Insta and watching one person talk, and then go to another one, talk, or right?
Yeah.
It's very like if I'm putting myself in my position, if I'm going through this whole journey and I'm like so confused and I'm more confused now. So what we wanted to do was bring all these expertise, bring all these things together in one place. And that was the intention of doing an app and making it super affordable so that when women come, they're not confused. Most of the women are confused, including me. I was. And then they don't feel alone, irrespective of what ethnic background is. Everybody suffers, everybody goes through the experience differently. And they can find credible information that is research backed, all that. And then they can also seek help if they want to in a group way. I'm talking about live help in a group setting or in a one-on-one, like a consultation or even a testing. So it's all kind of brings it all together in one place. And that was the intention of doing an app in today's day and age, not doing an old fashioned website like we used to do.
You're making sense. You're in the market, right? Because all the apps, think about it, like everybody's going app now. Like every store you go to, everybody's got an app for this, app for that, app for that. Everybody hates the word app, but I'm like, if you think about it, that we're technology based now a lot. So why not take advantage of that? Hell, even therapies going televisiting now too, and a lot of them are expanding. They're having teledoc visits, and things
Yeah.
like that for just a small minor things like that. So I love the idea. And
Yeah.
I'm always looking for more interesting guests like yourself to bring on to talk about these kind of things, because I don't stir away for any conversation. I'll be honest with you. I love
Yeah.
having these conversations, especially with the start apps, because it's so interesting to hear the journey of it, because there's a lot of, trial and error and different things you got to figure out and stuff like that. But yours sounds like you guys are right on the ready to give birth to this baby. So is there a timeline for when it's ready to come out?
Yeah, like July is,
Hey, there you
somewhere.
go.
Yeah, yeah, very, very close. We just in the final stages. But on the other topic of what you talk about, the anxiety, I just want to share one detail. 50% of the women have anxiety and depression and suicidal thoughts when they're going through this journey of perimenopause, menopause, and they're too scared to talk about it. That's the reason. These are some of the things that have so much stigma attached to it. We talk about mental health on a general level, but mental health is like so compartmentalized based on what stage and what you're going through.
Mhm.
That's the other thing we want to bring out, right?
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree 100%. I think it depends exactly like you said on what it is exactly you are
Yeah.
dealing with at the time, and it's funny because the whole start of the show was just like everybody says the same thing. Oh, is it just about anxiety? It's really about any kind of mental topic, honestly, because no matter what, we all deal with something at some point, and even these women that are dealing with menopause and things like that too, they're feeling very ashamed about it because they don't want to talk about it, just like mental health. A lot of people don't even want to discuss that either.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's invisible. That's the problem, right? I mean, you can't tell what's going on in someone's head, as an example. And the same way is going through a woman who's going through perimenopause, menopause. Her menstrual health is getting affected. We know that, and then so are the hormones that are going down. But it's like all inside, and the physical symptoms, if she's going through, but inside her head, she might be going through well, she's definitely going through anxiety, stress, and maybe depression, and maybe going through some issues with her relationship as well that will exacerbate the whole anxiety and the stress part of it, right? So it's very convoluted is what I'm trying to say, this anxiety and depression.
No, I agree. No, I agree 100%. I think a lot of males don't understand what women go through with that kind of thing. And I think that's a great thing about this episode is that we can help them understand like this is what your partner could be dealing with, and there's places for them to get help, even if it's not him, it's her listening. Hey, there's this great app that's coming out that's affordable and it has all the things you need. And you don't have to feel so alone about these things. You can go get some support and get the help you want. And you can do it from the comfort of your own home. And I think a lot of people, that's what they like now versus having to go there because they feel so embarrassed because you're sitting in the waiting room. We've all been sitting in a waiting room. We're all looking at each other wondering what the hell we're all there for. We know we all had that thought and process, you're just like freaking out. But this gives you the comfort of your own home. You gotta be private if you want to be private about it.
Yeah.
You gotta be loud about it if you want to be loud about it. I mean, it's just great. I love apps in general. I feel like people sleep on too many apps. They feel like they keep hitting the app, but it's like, it's the older generation that usually is the one that's griping about it the most. They're like, oh, I don't like these apps. I'm like, well, everything's going app based nowadays. Hell, even tickets are going app based now. A lot of these places you go now, you just scan your phone and it's just like having the paper, the paper in front of you itself. It's changing. We're going technology based for a lot of stuff. Even self checkout showing up in the most random places possible. You hear people complain about those, and it's just like, I don't think you can stop the age of technology coming. It's coming, whether you like it or not. I mean, you gear up or fall behind. It's really at this point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And with AI forging ahead so much, I mean, there is an AI for everything, and God knows what's going to happen after a few years. But a lot of knowledge-based industries, where information AI, if AI starts doing a better job, I mean, there is something to be, kind of concerned about what AI can do. But on the positive side, AI can also help so many people and so many things and streamline so many little other things that we are doing. So technology and the rate it's going and the AI, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is, And so about your app, okay. So I know I was reading a little bit about it, and you say it's a holistic approach. So what is yours different than everybody else say, in the holistic area? Like,
Yeah.
I love it. I love holistic. I think a lot of this stuff
Okay.
people sleep on the whole thing. just in general. Like there's so many different things that actually work that a lot of people I think overlook just because they hear the word holistic. A lot of them just shut down before they know anything.
Holistic doesn't mean snake oil. See, that's what people perception is,
Right.
right? Holistic means mind, body, and soul. That's literally what it means. So, our bodies are not like compartmentalized, like the Western medicine looks at it. For every single compartment, you end up going to a different kind of a specialist. There's nothing wrong with that. There's a place for the Western medicine, but if you don't take care of yourself on a daily basis for your mind, body, and soul, that's really what we're doing. And we are using these therapies that have evidence behind it, like food as medicine, movement as medicine, right? Hypnotherapy, aromatherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, acupressure, supplements, all these things. There is so much available that an average person, it doesn't matter in US or in fact anywhere in the world, is not really aware that, because our brains are so brainwashed with taking a pill, right? And I'm not saying I'm against the pill. There is a place for everything, but there is a place for on a daily basis of prevention and self-care using all these natural kind of therapies that are available to us. And if we don't take care of it as human beings, that is really what we are trying to advocate. And that's what, right?
Yep. No, I agree 100% with you. I think the pill has a place. I just think that we rely too much on the pill. I think that there's so many natural cures and supplements and things like that. I think people overlook food too. Like, I think food's the number one thing that people look over because they think your brain is the number one driving engine. It's actually your gut that drives a lot of it too. From a couple of guests I've had on, we've discussed this several times. Like what you eat every day can affect a lot of things, your mood and everything else. If you don't take care of yourself, man, there's no magic cure-all end pill to do it. And what you guys are promoting is great because you're making them move. The food is, you're playing all the different parts of things, even supplements that people are just you see them every day in the store. It's like, they're there for a reason. People take these supplements and supplements are great. Don't get me wrong. I've tried them myself. I could tell you a person who's done it myself. I've tried a bunch of different supplements and I've noticed a major change in the way I look at things and feel. Every day my energy levels go up and things like that. And it's just by taking these vitamins that we're not getting from these foods that we're eating are just so bad for you. And, a lot of these natural foods are way better for you. A lot of people, I think we live in we want it now society. Well, that's great. You want it now, but you got to prep to make it now. Like prep cooking is really good too, because you can create all these healthy meals yourself with less calories and less all that junk in it. Versus all this stuff that's quick now and easy. It's like, okay, well, it's quick now and easy, but what chemicals are you putting in your body now? And what are those doing to your body? And I love the holistic side now, like I've done my research. I've met a lot of people and like, the things I start learning more and more and more, it makes more sense. It's like, why have we left this? Because now, it's because big pharma wants you to take all these pills and all these different things. I'll try these things. And it's like, but what about where we started from? Because before we didn't have all these things. Big pharma wasn't there. The pills weren't there. We had to use natural cures already. It's been around for the longest time, but now it's like, oh, I got a magic pill to save everything, and the snake oil thing was a great reference too, because I think a lot of times I think that's what people get turned off by. They hear like energy healing and all these other things. And I'm like, what kind of hippie stuff is that? I'm like, hold up. Don't discredit it because it works. It's hard to say it doesn't work when you have people that it's working for. It's everyone wants the evidence, but nobody wants to see the evidence though, because when you start showing to them, then what is your excuse then? Because it's working. Here's all the evidence. These are facts that people are doing these things. All these, there's a high demand for it too.
Absolutely. And all these processed food, like you said, all these preservatives, and I'm so glad at least what's happening now, in the country, that really they're going down into the processed foods, right? What is happening that's something that's really good. I don't want to discuss politics here, but that is something I think it's a good thing that's happening. We Americans eat so much processed food. Our diet itself is called SAD, right? Standard American diet, which is full of preservatives and insecticides, and pesticides. And all these things for women, specifically for women, right? It is what we call it. And I'm not a medical doctor, but I've talked to enough to say these things. Big disclaimer here: endocrine disruptors. What that is what they say. So all these pesticides and insecticides, when they get into a woman's body, they disrupts the endocrine functions, and you don't know all kind of inflammation that starts going in. That also there's a lot of data and research talks about some kind of a cancer can also, we have so many cancer. I had never even heard of cancer if like 30 years back or something, if you think about it. Maybe someone would have cancer, not so much.
Not so, very true,
right?
Very true.
Right. And now if you look at it, women over 55 in this country, 80% of them have one chronic condition, whether it's cancer, whether it's diabetes, osteoporosis, dementia, or heart health. It's like, it's astronomical. These numbers are crazy.
Yeah, but think of the numbers. So, like, we know there are problems, but what are we doing to fix the problem? That's, I think, is the main question. Is like, why haven't we done something about this? And it goes for both sides of the coin. But it's just like our health are terrible in this country, man. The things that we eat, if we look at other countries, a lot of stuff like the high processed stuff costs more, but the fresher, the better stuff for you costs less, which I think they have the right model. So we don't do it because they've got us so hooked on it. And, like sugar, man, it's a real big addiction. Like people don't realize how easy it is to get you hooked, man. And I'm diabetic, so I can speak from experience, man. Like once I crave that sugar, man, like I got to have it. Like I'm fiending for it. And I do weird things, like I'd hide it. And my wife would laugh at me because she's like, you do things like a drug addict would do. You hide stuff around the house. And I didn't think about it that way, like I didn't think about it, but I kind of do a little bit because it's like I felt so ashamed because she'll give me a hard time about it. Oh, you don't know, don't need that right now, and you don't need all that stuff. And I'm just like, but I crave it, man. It's like, and it's sodas too, man. It's hard to break away from sodas and things like that. I remember when I cleansed myself from soda, I was drinking just water. It was a major change. I felt different. I was doing this thing where I was drinking a gallon of water a day, and it sounds a lot to a lot of people. The first few days, oh God, it was horrible. But after that, it was, I felt amazing though. Like I got through it like it was nothing. I didn't even realize even going through it, and that satiated feeling is, it cleanses your body, especially when I'm diabetic too, because it helps keep my sugar levels low and stuff like that. So everything for me, it's a balancing act every day. So like, I really got to read labels, and I can't have all these other things that everybody else has, all these fried foods and things like that. And, it's crazy because before I didn't think anything of it. Like I ate like terrible. Now I have to really think about what I'm eating now, because I have to think, what is this going to do to me? How's my sugars going to be affected and things like that, and it's hard because everything else is so readily available. And it's like, I can't do all those things like everybody else. So I've constantly got to make decisions on the go. If I'm in a hurry, I really have to figure out where to go. So like, I'll know what I can go and get and what I can't have, kind of thing, if I absolutely have to go that route. And I feel like, a lot of it is just like, it's that I told you, it's like, we want it now kind of thing. Don't want to wait for it. And it's like, it's terrible. It really is.
There's not much of healthy option available for a quick food here. And the funny thing is, I go to Europe and I eat every single thing you can think of, like the bread and the cheese and the, you name it, even the sugar, the pastries, and all the things you can think of. I do not get bloated. I do not put on weight. I do not feel crappy. Nothing, because it's fresh. I think they don't add so many preservatives, and they don't. It's typically fresh every day. The fresh. Here, I have no idea. If I put myself, God forbid, I'm like completely gone for like. I have to cleanse myself. My body gets so inflamed that I have to literally go on a cleanse diet for 3 days, almost like a fasting diet. And put myself on a soup diet to cleanse myself, to get all the preservatives and all the junk out of my body. So that's really what it is, and most of us don't know. And if we just follow a simple thing like living with circadian rhythm, living with natural, what nature has given us, vegetables, fruits, and living according to simple movement, all these things. That is what holistic is. Holistic is not like putting strange things in your body, right? You just, that's what we are saying.
I think I know where a lot of them get it from. You ever seen the show Seinfeld? There's an episode where one of
Oh
the
yeah.
characters,
I've seen
remember, okay,
everything.
remember, okay, when George goes to see that holistic healer that Kramer tells him about, I think that's
Yeah.
where it gets really kind of wonky. You get that guy doing all
Yeah.
that goofy stuff, and I'm like, it's
Yeah.
nothing like that though.
No,
I
no,
think
no,
that's
no.
the problem. A lot of people associate that episode with what it may be like to do holistic, or like they
Yeah.
call them hippies, or they think they're like
Yeah.
these, like there's real strange persona of people, and it's like I don't think you realize that yoga is used a lot more these days than most people realize. Like everybody's knocking on them for doing these things, but it's like I challenge some of y'all to go try yoga, because let me tell you about something light impact that has you working hard, man. Some of those positions you get into, especially like sleeping dog, your heart starts racing and you're not even doing anything heavy impact. And it was great because when I tried it, I was like, dude, this is interesting, because I was like, I used to be the one to make jokes about it too myself. But after I experienced it, let me tell you, I have a newfound respect for those guys, man. And, like meditation's great too for like, different things too. All that stuff is being used and applied, and all that's holistic, really, honestly, because a lot of that's what all they're doing is just teaching you how to regulate yourself without using all these other things to do it for you.
Exactly. And yoga is so great. It helps you with your gut health, because you're twisting and turning like that, right? Mental health, you're doing inversion. So you got your blood flow right, heading to your brain over here, and even your hair. And then meditation there's so much evidence on meditation, on how it can help with anxiety and stress. And then breath work. That is one thing that I don't think people realize, how breath can be so powerful. Learning different breathing techniques is so powerful. I can go on and on breathing techniques, even for women who are going through perimenopause. There is a breathing techniques that can help them cool down if they're having a hot flash, as an example. Just learning that. And then other things like aromatherapy, essential oils, just you dab your little essential oil on the meridians, which acupressure or acupuncture meridians, and you tap it a little bit, you'll see the difference. You kind of go tapping. So all these things, hypnotherapy is another one. It's another way of meditation, but it's kind of guided hypnotherapy, like it's going into your subconscious mind. This is all has, in today's day and age, research behind it.
No, I agree. And that's all available on the app, right? All that stuff's on there, and all the different things. So cool.
Yeah, exactly. That the whole idea is to empower the women, and then really make them feel that they're not alone, and then give them some information that they can start doing steps on their own. That's the whole idea of coming out with a self-care app, the self-care module first, so that, if I know, like I'm going through whatever perimenopause journey, if I just tweak a little bit my diet modification, my lifestyle, some of the other habits, that can start helping me, right? Rather than gulping all the medication all the time, or gulping whatever. So this is just a way for you to start doing self-care, and self-care is not selfish. Most of us think that.
Yes. Thank you. Someone else says it. I think that's the biggest thing, that when we went down that route in one episode about self-care, was that not a lot of people do it. They don't even realize what it is. They're like, oh, what is even that? I'm like, just do something you enjoy. There you go. That's self-care. Do something for yourself. And a lot of people say that, oh, well, that same thing. Oh, it's selfish. You're not being selfish. You're taking care of yourself. At the end of the day, you got to worry about you when it comes down to it. Nobody else.
Exactly. And you don't want to be sitting in a wheelchair, right? That's the thing. You want to, all of us are living longer because, but the quality of life, is that improving or is that going down? So many seniors end up in assisted living, homes, because of all these chronic conditions, that they get frail, then, but all of us are going to get there one day or the other, but you do not want to be going into these wheelchairs and all these other things if you don't take care of yourself now when you're young. And that's what we are really trying to say, is you got to take care of it when you're young. When you're in your 30s, okay, I'm not going to spiel this to 20-year-olds because they say, oh my God, I am very young. But at least when you're in your 30s, you just need to start taking care of yourself.
Yeah, that's why I tell a lot of them, I'm like, listen, trust me, enjoy it while you're young, because I wish I would have made better decisions at their age. And they all look at me the same way. And they're like, oh, okay, all right. The old guy's talking again.
Yeah,
It's like I'm
luckily
speaking
for
from experience. I'm speaking from experience to you. I'm trying to tell you, hey, don't make the same decisions I did, because if you get diabetes, trust me, you're gonna
yeah,
understand real quick how life's gonna change fast. It's not fun and games, and I've watched it.
no,
I've watched it kill my uncle, and he was in horrible shape, and it was just like I think that's the scary thing, is that we all know these are issues, but nobody wants to do anything about it, or they have
yeah,
always make an excuse. Oh, well, I don't have time to do this. You don't
yeah,
have 15 minutes to spend looking into your own health. Come on now, man.
I
Like,
know.
let's stop making excuses and start
Yeah,
working on these things, because all these things go together. Your food, your body, your activity, all these things play into your
exactly.
mental health as well. People don't realize that, or they just think that we're all just speaking nonsense. Oh, well, the hippies are talking again. I'm like, maybe they were onto something there a little bit.
No, I think there's a shift happening in this country. Yeah, I can, because I've talked about 3,000, maybe 4,000 people, women, men as well together. And there is definitely a shift. You know how it was when Whole Foods came out, nobody used to eat
Mm-hmm.
organic and fresh food, right? And look at it now, or go into any supermarket, there's an organic section, or there is, right? So
Yeah.
I think that there's definitely a shift that's happening all over the world, because all of us have realized, how the big pharma, not that I'm saying against and them anything, but how we have just become like like a pill society,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, and that has had so many side effects, and all these strange chronic conditions have crept up to all over the world, for that matter, for the last 2-3 decades. So everybody realizes now, majority of them realizes, and then I think there is a slow movement that's happening towards at least the people I've talked to, they all believe in what you and I are talking about.
Yeah, I think the more that we talk about it, the more the conversation will start sticking to other people, and people start to realize how
Yeah.
easy a lot of these things are, and what a lot of these things even are. Because that's the great thing about the show, is I bring in different people, all different aspects of everything, have them come in. We get to learn more about them, what they're doing. I mean, I talk to people about, like, what they're doing with mushrooms and things like that too. They're even doing great things with psychedelics these days that
Yes.
before they weren't doing anything with. People just associate them with, oh, I take a bunch and get high. No, these people are using a lot of this stuff
Uh-huh.
to make major changes for people, and it's mild microdosing and things like that. And
Mhm.
and it's not like they're very serious about how they do it too. They have somebody there with you to make sure that they get the right amount of dose for you, so
Yeah.
it's helping the problem you're having, so we can solve these
Yeah.
issues, not hide the issue.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And that's what I think we've become like, on the surface, we want to hide, we want to look like, okay, and I'm talking about from a women point of view, they want to look like the super moms, I've gone through
Hmm.
this whole experience of being soccer mom, being a super mom, being, oh, I can take care of everything. I can cook, I can work, I can take care of my kid, I can be a volunteer at the school, big club, and the PTA. Can you
Yep.
imagine the pressure? Oh my God, it's like,
Yeah.
it's nerve-wracking. Being a parent is what someone told me. It's a competitive sport, right? Nowadays, that
Hmm.
you have to compete. It's nerve-wracking. And how can you take care of yourself if you're so obsessed with so many other things? You
Yeah.
forget about yourself, right? I mean, I'm just talking as a human. You forget about yourself. I know I look like really crap in my 30s. If I go back and look at myself, I barely took care of myself. I'm overweight, all these things, because I had no clue how to take care of myself.
Isn't it sad that we have to teach
Yeah.
ourselves how to take care of ourselves when we take care of everybody else, and
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a great point, though. Is a lot of people overextend themselves, and they do,
Yeah.
they try to take on too much. I've done that myself. I take on too much
Yeah.
sometimes, and it's hard,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I've learned that as I go. It's just like some days I just got to admit where I make mistakes, and it's hard for me too. Sometimes I don't like to admit when I'm wrong, and it's one of
Yeah.
those things I deal with all the time, and and issues like that, and it's crazy that we have to sit there and think that it's selfish to worry about putting ourselves first versus everybody else. But if
Mhm.
you think about it from the aspect of, if you don't take care of yourself, how are you going to take care of everybody else? Like, if you're sick, you can't going to take care of anybody else. You're not going to want to have the energy to do anything. So if you don't take better care of yourself now, then how are you going to
Mhm.
take better care of yourself down the road? And
Mhm.
I think that that's the problem, is that a lot of people need to start doing more self-care, or even doing breath work. Like you said, breath work is
Mhm.
a real interesting one, like even simple breathing techniques like that can help you calm down and reduce stress and things like that easily. You don't need something else to do it. You can do it yourself using your own body.
Mhm. No, yeah, and you can't run on an empty can of right,
Hmm.
yeah, or empty gas in a car, right? And if your gas is empty, how the heck you going to help anyone else
Right.
if that's what where you are, right?
Right.
So anyway, so that's the whole idea of self-care, and anxiety and talking about some of the things that topics, that have stigma attached to it. I don't think we should feel that there is a stigma attached to anything,
Yeah.
because you really are trying to solve a problem that you are having, and there's nothing to feel ashamed about it.
Well, I think, like you said, it was a lot of people feel like they're alone, though, and I mean that's the
Yes.
biggest answer you get for a lot of people. It's like, well, I didn't know there are people dealt with these things, or they're all looking in, why waiting for somebody to say something so they all could jump in the conversation. Like, oh my God, about time you said it, because if you didn't say it, I was gonna say it. That whole scenario that goes down. I've heard that from a lot of people, and especially men too. It happens. A lot of
Yeah.
times guys don't want to talk about it, but I had a
Yeah.
guest, he came on, he said his fantasy football group is doing the same thing. Everybody's looking in, wait for somebody to say that one jump code word and jumps in. And then when he said something, all these other people just started pouring in too. And I was laughing because it's so funny, because that's how we look at things. It's just like no one wants to start the conversation, but once the conversation
Yes.
starts having, then everybody's like, oh yeah, okay, well, now I don't feel so alone because now I know you deal with
Yeah.
these problems
Yeah.
too. And it's like, and that's the great thing about the show. So, it's like we can have these great conversations about things. And like I said, I don't stir away from any conversation. Hell, we're talking
Yeah.
about what menopause, and I'm not a woman. You know what I mean? Like I have no problem having these conversations. I had
Yeah.
an hour-long conversation with a woman about had written a breast cancer memoir, and I read the whole book, and I was telling people I was watching the media. They were just looking at me like I was crazy. Like, huh? I'm like, listen, Jay, reach out. I said, hey, why not? Let's give it a shot. I'm open for any kind of conversation. Let me read the
Yeah.
book. I read the book front to back. I thought it was very interesting. I learned a lot of things I didn't know. I saw a lot of things I didn't think, you just saw it all. Like she bared it all. Like you saw full frontal nudity, and it was like, okay, it made sense with the story that you're reading, because this is someone's life. This is somebody that's going through something. She took the time to write
Yeah.
this book and put it out there for people to understand. And it was great. She said she's gotten a lot of mails that responded to it and said, well, thank you so much. You gave me another perspective on how, a lot of my partner or somebody I know that's dealing with these things go through these kind of things.
Yeah. 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 It is. It is. It's a lot of. I just salute all these women who go through these breast cancer and all
Yeah.
these things. I mean, it's very, very hard. I'm talking to some breast cancer groups and see how we can help some of the women, because they have so many problems. If they have breast cancer when they're younger, then they get
Yeah.
into the early menopause, a forced menopause, and that has
Ugh.
its own issues, right? And it's very hard to deal with. First is the cancer, and now your ovaries and the menstrual health is going
Yeah.
all haywire, right? So it's very, very complicated. Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
women in general are just complicated. And I don't mean that
Yes.
from a rude stance. I just mean it from
Yeah.
several conversations I had with my wife. We've had some
Yeah.
interesting conversations about the pH balance and things like that. All these different things that I'm just like, I didn't know these things. Like it's interesting when she talks to me about it, because I'm so fascinated. Because I'm like, I didn't even know that. Let me be honest. You being a
Yeah.
male, we don't know about any of these things. We're not forced to learn these things. A lot of
Yeah.
times when I have 3 daughters, let me tell you, that was an interesting experience. I was a
Yeah.
single dad for a little
Absolutely.
while taking care of them. And one of them had gotten their period. Let me tell you, I had to learn a lot of things fast, real quick, that I never thought I'd have to know. But
Yeah.
now I'm
Yeah.
grateful for it, because now I understand it more, and I get, I did the whole thing. I gave her privacy and things like that. It was all these things I had to learn, because they were becoming,
Yeah.
the oldest one was becoming a woman. So, like, you can't do the same things. You can't just bust in rooms when they're in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
knock first, because you got to make sure, they're not, had no, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It was an
Yeah. Yeah.
interesting learning
Absolutely.
situation for me, for a male myself, who's never really understood the woman side of a lot of things. But now I do, because after raising 3 of them, I have a better understanding about a lot of stuff that, I never thought I would, because I always made jokes about, buying, like, going to buy tampons is always a joke for men. Oh, hey, haha, you're not a man because you had to go buy them for your wife. I'm like, now, like, I told my ex, I was like, she always made it real weird. I was like, well, you need me to go get something? I got you. I'll go. You're gonna be. She's like, oh, I know you guys get weird about this stuff. No, what ones you need? I'll go get them. I don't care. And my wife
Yeah.
now, she tells me a lot of things, and it just doesn't affect me. Like, I'm just like, okay, whatever, doesn't bother me. I don't shame her for anything that she tells me, kind of things, and things happen, like, and it she just has a lot of things that go on, and it's just like, I don't shame her for anything, stuff that's happened. I think I have a better understanding since raising 3 girls, like
Yes.
I've learned a lot more about the other side of the coin at this point, than the memoir and things like that. So I'm always curious to learn new things, about all these different things that people deal with and stuff like that to better understand it too, because I can apply it to my life itself. Like if my wife were to have breast cancer, I'd have a better idea of like things like I wouldn't have to ask her so many questions. I already have a better understanding of things, or and I'm very understanding now than I was before. And before I started the show, it was a little different. But now that I've been doing this show and had a lot of interviews, I'm over, God, I don't even know now, almost like 150 interviews, I think, at least, of just different people I've talked to.
Yeah.
And the show's not even a year old. I already had over 100 live episodes I've done.
Wow.
And I've had so many different conversations about different things. And it's just like, I'm so interested. Every time I find something new I don't know, I'm like, okay, well, come on here and talk to me about it, because I want to know. And like, I invite everybody to come join me. I'm like, come on, let's go talk about this, because I want to know more about these things, like educate me more so I can know more, because I have that thirst for knowledge now. And, and holistic healing is what I got into after I met another woman last year when I started doing this show early on. She was telling me about energy healing and how I've been real sensitive to energy I found out and things like that, which made a lot of sense because I kept having this feeling I couldn't explain. But then when I explained it to her, it made perfect sense to her. She's like, oh yeah, because you're sensitive to energy, that you can sense people's energy and things like that. Like I could read people's body energy when they get close enough to me. I could tell you if I don't like somebody within the first 5 minutes. And a lot of people think that's weird. I'm like, you can notice it because you notice they give you off a weird feeling. Like if you don't like being around them, they give you this kind of like ick kind of feeling. It's like my spider sense kicks in. It's like, okay, hold on. We don't like this person for some reason. Something about them we don't like. We can't tell yet, but let's see. Either they'll say something, they'll give some kind of weird body language motion off that I don't like, that you can read bullshit from people and they tell you stories and things like that to get you thinking. Or it's just, I could just feel that, like, I just don't like them, or they go away and that feeling goes away. The minute that person leaves me, I don't feel that feeling anymore, because I work in customer service. So I deal with a lot of people directly. So I run into a lot of people. And a lot of people you can tell which ones you don't like within the first 5 minutes. And a lot of people laugh at me, but I can read people's emotions across the room too. I've had people around me that are real upset about something before they even say a thing. I could already go over there and ask them, hey, listen, you doing okay? I can tell you're not feeling so great, or you're not looking too good. Are you all right? You need anything? Can I help you with anything? And I'm over there instantly asking them. And I think a lot of them are shocked that I could pick up on it right away. Or the tone of voice people use too. That thing too. You could read the tone of people's voice when they say certain things. Like, hey, what's up? If they're not responding the same way, that's a red flag of, hey, well, hold on a second. We need to go check on this person, see what's going on.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there is something universe is trying to tell all of us. And, the funny thing is, I was reading something. Universe is always trying to give us red flags if things are not good. And the universe is always trying to tell us whether it's the right direction or not right direction. There are cues that are happening in your life. Whether you're working, you have a bad boss or something like that. But we refuse to, as human, we don't take action, and we refuse to kind of,
or we don't know how to tell that the universe is talking to us.
Dismiss it, because sometimes it's not convenient. Sometimes it's like, oh, I'm going to upset someone else. So all these things, I think women go through a lot. But I think today, show what we've talked about it. Is really good to bring out all these things openly, and women should not feel, at the end of this show, what I want women to understand is they should not feel ashamed. They should not feel that they are alone, or they should not feel there's a stigma attached to any of these topics. They should come out in the open and seek help and talk about whoever they want to talk about. Really, that is at the end of the day, that is one thing that I really want women to get from this show as we are wrapping up.
I think it makes sense that it's where I'm a male, you're a female, we're having this conversation, because it means that we can have this conversation. You should be able to have this conversation with anybody, honestly. Like don't be afraid to tell your partner about what you're going through, because honestly, from the male side, we may not totally understand what you're saying, but you telling us more, educating us on these things is helpful for us to understand, like, a lot of stuff you guys go through. We may not understand all the things that you guys deal with, but we'll have a better understanding how to identify these things. And I think that's the scariest part of it all, is that a lot of people don't have conversations about these things. I feel like you said, it's a stigma. People are afraid to talk to them about it. Like, don't be afraid to share your help with someone else, like especially your partner. let them know what's going on, like, so they know something's going on, because I guarantee they'll support you more than you realize, and it's okay to talk to them about menopause and things like that. We may not understand it as males completely, but educate us, like teach us something that we don't know. Like, hey, listen, these are the things we're dealing with here. A good partner will listen to what you're saying, and they'll want to go and talk to you about this, and like, hey, ask you questions, or they may not have questions right away, or something comes up, you could tell them, hey, listen, I'm having these issues. These are things I'm dealing with. Me and my wife have very open dialogue about a lot of stuff that, a lot of people seem to be weird. Like, we talk about everything. And I think that's what's so great about it for us, is that we can talk about these issues with each other, not feel so ashamed to talk about it. There's some things she does feel shameful about talking to me about, but the way I react, it makes her feel better, because I don't react to things like that. I'm just like, okay, it's understand. I get that. I'm not going to make you feel ashamed for you coming to tell me about these things.
Yeah.
Why would I make you feel bad about it? Like, I could sit here and flip out. Here's the options. I could freak out, or I could sit there and understand exactly something happened, and just take care of the problem, and just do what I can do to be more supportive for you. And I feel like, that's the problem with a lot of conversations. I feel like we need to move towards is having open dialogue about like everything, men's health, women's health, things that women deal with. Like, we're all people at the end of the day. We all deal with these health issue things. Why not have an open discussion about these things?
Exactly. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I really have enjoyed my discussion with you, and I think what you're doing is great.
Thank you so much.
So how do we wrap up this thing and tell viewers the final thing, whatever you think?
Okay, well, we're going to start wrapping up, guys. Real quick, though, I want to ask you a question. I've asked everybody else, okay? If your mental health had a song, what would it be? Any song you want to pick, whatever you like.
You know what? Beat It from Michael Jackson.
I love it.
That's a good one. That's a good one, right?
I was
thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I was so sad when he passed away, but the music was phenomenal, and specifically this one, Beat It. I think that's so appropriate for this kind of a topic that we're discussing.
Right. So, all right. Well, let's start getting ready to wrap up. Amita, why don't you tell everybody a little more when they can expect the app? You said July. Is it going to be like in all mobile stores and things like that? I know you're going to send me some information so I can put it in the description of the video and things like that.
Yeah, so it's going to be on the app, mobile phones, and your, Apple and Android, and as well as on the web. So we're going to have a web version as well, because, a lot of people feel, they want to do it on the laptop or iPad. You'll have an option. So the app would be out sometime in July, and we're trying to get it out sooner, but let's say, over the summer, June, July timeframe. Okay. And the self-care option, what we are going to offer for women, would be priced at less than $5 per month. That's the intention, so that every woman can at least go and try it out. And then the prices go up according to the need of a woman, right? What she wants, not what we think. That's really the intention of keeping the woman in mind. What she
leave them in control.
Yeah, exactly. So that's where we are. And so we're just going through crazy times right now, trying to wrap up a lot of things in the this month and next month. And that's where we are. And check us out at www.NourishDoc.com. That's where we will be posting everything when the app is out, or all the other links where they can start trying it out.
You're also on Instagram too, aren't you? And Facebook and stuff like that too?
Yes, we are. We will be posting there as well on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. These are the 3 platforms we are quite active on. And even Twitter a little bit, but yes, we will be posting everywhere.
And guys, I'll have all those links down below in the video here. And like I said, when the app comes out, I'll definitely have a link to that as well. Amita will get it to me so we can make sure we plug it in the video. And when this comes to the audio side, if you guys are listening, it'll be in the description of this audio recording as well too. And guys, as I always say, it's called something absolutely nothing to be kind to somebody. One kind act you can do can save somebody's life, or you can make their day. I'm Pete for Anxiety, signing off saying, hey, don't ask how your day is today. Say, hey, how's your mental health today?